Hello class, in this video I'm going to go over reading quiz chapter 8 and I am going to solve some additional questions from other resources and also from Edvinity assignment. So let's start with the first one. Based on the information in the table below, calculate the unemployment rate. So if you read the chapter carefully, you find out that U rate is 100 times unemployed people divided by labor force. So we need to find labor force first. Labor force is the sum of employed plus unemployed. Now here on the table you can find out that total employed is 60 million plus total unemployed 3 million. Therefore labor force is 63 million. And we know the number of unemployed. Therefore U rate is equal to 100 times 3 million divided by 63 million. And that is equal to 4.76%. Let's go to question number 2. If discouraged workers are included in the determination of the unemployment rate, what effect will it have on the computed rate? So first of all, unemployment rate that you officially see on the news is actually doesn't include the people who are discouraged. So who are these discouraged people? Discouraged people are actually look for a job for a long time, but then they give up. They give up looking for a job. But if there is a job, they are ready to work for it. So these people are considered, discouraged people are considered as not in the labor force. So why is the case? Because of the definition of U rate. Unemployment rate says that people who doesn't have a job and actively looking for a job. Actively looking for a job. If a person doesn't have a job, that doesn't enough for to be unemployed. The person has to look for a job actively. If a person doesn't have a job and give up looking for a job, then this person is included in the not in the labor force category. So if these people who are not in the labor force also added to the unemployment rate, U rate, number of unemployed people, then there is going to be more unemployed people. Therefore, unemployment rate will rise because there are always discouraged people in the economy. So the right answer is the last option. Next question. Based on the information in the table, calculate labor force participation rate and the percentage of workers out of the labor force. So let's find out labor force participation rate. Labor force participation rate is equal to 100 times number of people in the labor force divided by adult population. That's the formula. So adult population is given 100 times. Adult population is 83 million. Then we need to find labor force, and we know that labor force is the sum of employed and unemployed. Therefore, it's 63 million. 60 plus 3. And that gives us 63 divided by 83, 75.9%. And we know that the total should be 100%. If 75.9% is in the labor force, then the remaining should be not in the labor force. So if we subtract 75.9% from 100%, the remaining is 24.1% is not in the labor force. Therefore, the right answer is the first one. Question number 4. How do economists define unemployed workers? This is important. The definition of unemployed workers is not currently working. Okay, this is not the correct one, but this is the correct one. Not currently working, but actively searching for work. Number 5. When most workers are classified as not being in the labor force, when in reality they are actively searching for work, then the unemployment rate will be understated, right? It's not representing the true scenario. So for instance, unemployment rate says that there are 4% unemployed people, but in fact, actually, there are people who are actively looking for a job. Therefore, the unemployment rate understates the true scenario. Question number 6. Mariam is actively searching for a new job after she voluntarily quit her job. Mariam is now considered frictionally unemployed. Remember, frictional unemployment is usually voluntary and people are usually switch jobs. When they switch jobs, they become unemployed. Therefore, this kind of unemployment is called frictionally unemployed. Let's see this one. An auto company decided to relocate its offices from Huntsville, Alabama to Orlando, Florida. The human resource manager of the auto company refuses to relocate to Orlando due to family obligations. While she is searching for a new job, the manager will be considered structural unemployed. For your textbook, structural unemployed people are the ones who are changing sectors or industries. That's why we choose structurally unemployed. But in some other textbook, you can find out that these sentences could be also classified as frictionally unemployed. Frictionally unemployed in your textbook is the ones that are voluntarily giving up work and changing jobs, looking for new jobs, and the period when they are looking for a new job, they are unemployed, and that's called frictionally unemployed. If the people needs to change the industry or the sector, then it's considered as structurally unemployed. Number 8, employees at a toy manufacturing factory are let go because robots have been installed to replace humans. What type of unemployment? This is structural unemployment. Workers at a car manufacturing plant in Detroit, Michigan are laid off because of a recession. If there is an unemployment because of a recession, then it's called cyclical or cyclical. This is because of business cycles in the economy. If you read your textbook, you'll realize that there are ups and downs in the economy. Sometimes GDP grows, sometimes GDP shrinks. And we have unemployment when GDP shrinks because we call these periods as recessions. Number 10, if you work part-time when you would like to work full-time or have a full-time job that doesn't utilize all your skills and talents, then you are counted as underemployed. So there are several couple things that I would like to mention also. We learn how to calculate unemployment. We learn that unemployment is not a perfect measure because it excludes discouraged workers. Also, people are working part-time, underemployed people are counted as employed, but they should be considered as unemployed because working part-time when you have skills that you can work full-time, then shouldn't be considered as an employed person. In addition to that, we learn about different types of unemployment. We have the frictional, we have the structural, and we have the cyclical. And these two together called natural rate. Natural rate of unemployment is the unemployment that's in the long run. Cyclical is due to business cycles, so that's short-run unemployment. So the one that you see on the news, like unemployment like this, is cyclical unemployment, and it gets high when there are recessions in the economy. When the economy is doing good, the actual cyclical unemployment goes below the natural rate. So what is natural rate? Natural rate is a smooth version of long-run trend of unemployment. Okay, so usually in the US is between 4 to 6% natural rate. Sometimes cyclical rate goes below it, like the one that we have now, 3%. Unemployment rate in the US is below the natural rate. Sometimes it goes above, like 10%. That happened in 2008-2009 financial crisis. So cyclical represents the short-run deviations of the unemployment from the long-run trend. And we always have some unemployment in the economy. That's called natural rate. It's not because it is totally natural. It's because there is always unemployment in the economy. It's inevitable. There are people looking for new jobs, changing jobs, sectors are changing, the economy is dynamic. So because of these two reasons, we have natural rate. And when we talk about full employment level in the economy, full employment output level, we do not refer that everybody has a job, okay? At full employment output level, we have natural rate of unemployment. When the economy reaches the natural rate, that means the economy utilizes all its resources, although we have some unemployment in the economy. That unemployment is because inevitable. Here we have new set of questions. The first question is simple. In June 2009, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported an adult population of 234.9 million, a labor force of 154 million, and unemployment of 141.6 million. Based on these numbers, what was the unemployment rate and what was the labor force participation rate? So let's solve the first one. It's asking what is the unemployment rate. We need to find first labor force. Which labor force is given? Therefore, we need to find the unemployment rate. Labor force is employed plus unemployed people, and total is 154, and we don't know the unemployed but we know employed, 141.6 plus unemployed. Therefore, I can find unemployed by subtracting employed from labor force. 154 minus 141.6 is unemployed. And let's use calculator. Then unemployed people is equal to 12.4. Now I can calculate U rate. U rate is equal to unemployed people 12.4 divided by labor force times 100. In that case, it's 8.05%. Now let's find out labor force participation rate. Labor force participation rate is 100 times labor force, which is 154, divided by adult population, which is 234.9, and that's equal to 65.56%. Let's do this question. Classify each of the following individuals in one of the following categories: employed, unemployed, and not in the labor force. The first one, Steve worked 40 hours last week, so this person is employed. Last week, Elizabeth worked 10 hours as a computer programmer. Doesn't matter the number of hours, as long as the person works part-time, it's considered as employed. Roger lost his job at Argan Manufacturing Company. Since then, he has been trying to find a job, so therefore this person is unemployed. Linda is a homemaker. Last week she was occupied with her normal household chores. She neither held a job nor looked for a job. This person is not in the labor force. Linda's father is unable to work, not in the labor force. Scott has a PhD. He worked full-time but doesn't like his job as a dishwasher. As long as Scott is working, although he is underemployed, this person is considered as employed. Mary Helen has been out of work for a full year. She would like to take a job if it was offered, but no local companies are hiring. She is not actively searching for work, not in the labor force. Now let's look at some questions on Affinity assignment. I will solve question number 9. In 1999, the economy of Microtania had a total labor demand and labor supply at given wage rates according to the following schedule. So the first part of the question is asking what is the equilibrium wage? At equilibrium wage, quantity supply is equal to quantity demand. Let's first look at the labor market. Labor market, we have wage here instead of price, and we have here number of hours worked. And labor supply represents the workers looking for a job. This is the difference between goods market and labor market. Supply is the households, demand is the business in this market. And then there is the demand. Demand is the job openings or businesses. In the goods market, demand was household and supply was business. Here, when you have quantity supplied equals to quantity demanded, we have equilibrium, and there is only one wage rate, which is $20. At $20, quantity supplied is equal to 1,450. Quantity demanded is equal to 1,450. Now the next question, suppose the minimum wage is $30. Now let's draw a minimum wage. This is 20. We learned that now. And now the minimum wage is set above the equilibrium wage, which is 30. At $30, labor demand, quantity demanded, that means the job openings, is 1,340. Quantity supplied is 1,505. So there's a mismatch. That mismatch is called unemployment. Why? Because this is supply, because we have 1,505 workers looking for a job, but only 1,340 jobs available. The size of the unemployment is going to be 1,505 minus 1,340. This is how you're going to find the number of unemployed. And let's look at question number 15. In 2008, Toronia's short-run equilibrium output was 16,000 and its long-run output was 18,500. Long-run output is actually determined the natural rate of unemployment. Long-run output is at natural rate of unemployment. If your short-run output is lower than long-run output, that means you employ less resources, right? Therefore, you have an unemployment rate today. Today's unemployment rate is higher than natural rate. Okay, short run output level now is lower than long run output level, and we know that the long run output level is determined at the natural rate. So if the short run output level is lower than the long run, that means you are employing less resources than the long run output. Long run output represents the natural rate, so the short run output, by employing less resources, the unemployment rate should be higher than the natural rate. So this is all about chapter 8. I hope this video is helpful.